Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday. I love teaching on a Tuesday because after coming back into the office on Monday, you kind of get settled in. And then to me, Tuesdays are like the perfect day to just take a moment to not only focus on what you need to get done for the week, but to actually just take a pause during the work week to learn and grow. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about how to hire what's next for you, a coach versus a consultant. This month in September, it is all about hiring, right? Hiring. So let me just do a quick tech check here. If you're joining me here, let me know if you can hear me okay. I just want to make sure that I am up and running. I think I am. Here. I love it. Okay. So, as you're thinking about your business, I got my coffee in here this morning. Come on in. We'll give it a couple of minutes here for folks to tune in. I'm really excited to talk to you about this because I often get this question of, Elizabeth, how do I know when I'm ready to hire what's next for me? What's the difference between a coach, a consultant, a mentor, right? Like these are all really great questions. And whether you are at the startup phase of your business or you're actually in the midst of growing and scaling your business, understanding if you need a coach versus a consultant is going to be very key to you. So, as you're tuning in, come on in. Let me know if you can hear me. Say hello. Tell me about your business. What is your business? Today, I want to talk about how do you really identify what's next for you? I'm going to share with you a little bit of my own personal experiences as I have grown my business to multiple six figures. And really, what I wish someone would have told me when I first started, right? What I wish someone would have told me. And the best part is that if you want the freebie handout, I'm just going to pull that up in a little bit here so you can see what that looks like. Here's a self-assessment that we put together for you, just for you, so that you can get a sense of really like thinking and reflecting about what you need next. One of the common mistakes that I see a lot of people make when they're thinking about growing their business or they're thinking about taking their expertise and figuring out how do I take my business online and really create an online income stream. If you're part of this group, you know that I'm all about working smarter and charging more. The hybrid CEO wants to grow a business that can actually thrive without her or him in it, meaning that you actually want to create a business where there's actually a team that can operate and function without you because you want to actually go on vacation, don't you? Right? And it doesn't have to be, a huge business where you have, 20, 30 employees. You can still grow a business that's six figures at a team of three or less. It's possible, right? How many of you want that freedom business? Say freedom business in the comments. How many of you really want that freedom business? Some of the things I hear about from my entrepreneurs online is, hey, I want to have an online business because I love the freedom. I love the flexibility. I love the option. I want to have creative control over my work, my passion and what I want to do, right? But so many people actually start, and before they actually really even start to take off, they're already sabotaging their success. Do you know how they are self sabotaging their success? This is what it sounds like. We'll just see how it goes. I'm not really sure what I want to do. I'm multi passionate about many things. So I'm going to dabble over here, right? And I'm going to try this on the side, and I'm going to try this on the side. Or my favorite is, I'm really a giving person. I'm here for the people. So I don't want to charge that much, right? Like there's this tension, this apologizing for giving and charging for your value, your worth, your services and your products. Okay. And so I want to encourage you that wherever you are in this spectrum, right? That the hybrid CEO looks at her business and she really says, I really want to figure out how to really make my business truly a freedom business. What is a freedom business? Yeah, you have flexibility, you have creative control, but you also have consistent income coming in every month that can cover your overhead costs. You have a team in place that can run the business literally without you so that you can take a couple of days off to reset, to spend time with your family, to travel and do all of the things that you love to do. The hybrid CEO looks at her business and she says, you know what? I want to charge more and work smarter because I want to grow my business here locally, right? But also diversify and make an impact online. Online gives me flexibility. Online gives me access to new audiences that I wouldn't otherwise have here locally. That means new leads, new sales, and new impact, right? The hybrid CEO is thinking about her business as like this multi channel business. She doesn't just see her business online as I need to do some live streams, I need to post content. She's literally thinking, what is that model that can operate and run and thrive without me so that I can stay focused in my zone of genius, in my zone of teaching and coaching, in my zone of creating? But she's not apologizing for wanting to make money in her business. There is no, we'll see how it goes. We'll see if anybody wants to buy this. No, she's owning her worth. She is owning her ability to create wealth, right? That is what a hybrid CEO is. She's not dabbling. She's not saying, we'll see, we'll leave it to fate. Don't get me wrong. I believe in manifestation and law of attraction, but there's also law of action, right? There's also showing up consistently, looking at your numbers, and not necessarily planning every single detail about how you're going to get your soul's goal, hit your sales goal, but you are declaring the number of sales you want to get. Is it a $10,000 month? Is it a $10,000 week? Is it a $10,000 day? She is owning all of that. She is not apologizing for wanting to bring in money. You know why? Because if you are compassionately ambitious, you are not apologizing about making money because you know the more money you make, the more you can give it away, the more you can give back to the causes and the communities that you care about. And why apologize for that? Because if you're not funding the change that you want to see with causes that you care about, the communities that you care about, who is going to drive those changes? Who is going to fund those causes? Right? So here at the hybrid CEO, I'm all about maximum income and maximum impact. The people that feel like, oh, this isn't for me, are the ones that are just solely focused on making money, profit, and sales. They don't have in them to give back. And that's completely okay. You're not my people. It's all cool, right? But I love surrounding myself with students and clients and a community that is all about thriving in abundance as defined by money, wealth, right? Great health, and making a social impact, making a difference. I want to just speak to you today as you're thinking about really how to hire what's next for you. Are you thinking about that and is it scaring you? Are you finding yourself saying you're not ready for that? Are you telling yourself, we'll see how it goes? Or are you telling yourself, I can figure this out? Taking your business online isn't just about showing up more on your social media. It's not just about creating a digital online product or program and putting it out there. It is really thinking about your business model, which is like the blueprint of your home, and thinking about how do I build this in a way that allows me to find the balance that I want with managing my business locally and going online. I want to just share with you how important this is, because this is often the mistake that a lot of people make when they're starting their business, right? So, this is where the employee mindset still shows up and conquers you. It conquers the way of you being and doing in your business. All right? So, okay, who's brave enough to admit this, okay? If you're brave enough to admit this, like type guilty in here, okay? But how many of you are spending time networking? Like either going to in-person events or just trying to join virtual networking calls. Nothing wrong with networking. I absolutely love networking. Okay? I did it when I first started my business. You know why? Because as an employee, when we had a career as an employee, we were taught and conditioned that networking was your best way to get promoted. And it is, and it still is. And again, there's nothing wrong with networking, right? And so we think as we step into our business that networking is still the way to go. That networking is still how you're going to build referrals, and that people are then going to refer business to you. How many of you are guilty of this? Are you brave enough to admit it? But here's the thing with entrepreneurs and networking. Everyone's so busy just trying to get leads for their business. How many of them are often really thinking about trying to find leads for your business? How many people have you met in the last week where you're like, oh, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to think about how to refer business to this person and generate leads for this person? Honestly, I think randomly, if somebody has a need, right, and it pops up randomly, and they're like, hey, I'm really looking for a trainer, or I'm really looking for a photographer, do you know anyone? Yeah, that might come to the person, that might come to you, you might refer business to them, right? But the problem with networking is that you're not churning enough leads in your pipeline fast enough to get cash flow coming. Okay. Networking is the slowest path to generating leads in your pipeline that will convert into sales. All right. Now, there is an exception to this. And this is if you build your business in a way where it's very high touch and you are actually targeting multiple multiple seven figure earners in your business, where you can actually network your way there. And like you only need maybe 3 clients per month as an entrepreneur to hit your sales goal, because at that level you're networking at a completely higher level. What I'm talking about is just your average entrepreneur that maybe is looking to hit either your first six figure online income stream, or your like next six figure income stream, right? So you might have a brick and mortar business that's doing very well, and now you want to go and expand and add on an online income stream. And when I say income stream, it's like, how do I do this online and have that program, that product, that revenue stream hit 6 figures? That's what I'm talking about. Okay, that's the only caveat, that's the only difference. Okay, so then what happens? So then you're networking and you're spending a lot of time doing networking, and you're hoping that that's going to generate leads for you. But what it actually does is actually it doesn't. So even I say to my students and clients when I'm coaching them, like, I get it. I get the need to network and connect and build relationships. But I'm going to share this experience with you. If you're networking and it takes you an hour to be in that meeting, depending on how it's curated, meaning how the host actually hosts it, right? In 1 hour, and this is not even including like doing, getting dressed up or even driving there or your commute. That could add on, another just hour alone. So you're looking at, let's say, 2 hours of preparation time, commute time from and to, and then 1 hour at the actual event. So you're spending 2 hours And I can tell you, most people are not the best at relationship networking marketing, meaning that they'll go to the event, they'll give business cards or exchange information, but most people actually don't follow up and consistently follow up to build that relationship, right? So what happens is people will go and they'll look at, they'll meet people, get a whole bunch of contact information, maybe schedule a couple of coffees here and there, and then that's it. So when I look at like coaching my clients and I say, I look at your time, right? As a hybrid CEO, I say, okay, you just spent 2 hours, prepping and driving and going to your networking event to generate leads. In just 30 minutes, I can have 20 conversations in my DM. That's more conversations than odds are you will have at that one networking event, right? And so you might be thinking, like, well, Elizabeth, what does this have to do with hiring what's next for you? You're talking about networking. Well, the reason why I'm bringing it up as well is because when I look at like how quickly can you hit your sales goals, because I am obsessed about results for my clients. I often say to them, I hope that you appreciate that when you hire me, I obsess about your results for you, that I'm challenging you to hit your sales goal. And then I'm also giving you the grace when you don't, right? The coaching and the consulting. But that the key is that I'm constantly looking at how I, Elizabeth, can be better as a strategist to coach, consult, right? To support my clients so that they hit their sales goals faster. So that's why I'm talking to you about networking, right? And so what does this have to do with hiring what's next for you? Well, for starters, if you have worked with coaches or consultants before in the past, I often get, hear this from many people, is that I've had a bad experience and I just don't know if like I can do this again. How many of you have been there? If you have, type in the comments bad experience. I have had bad experiences too. I have hired experts that do social media ads and they did nothing what they promised to do. I have hired coaches that I have worked with who are amazing and who are horrible, right? But I want to encourage you not to be discouraged by bad experiences, but to really use that as an opportunity to really understand how you operate, what you need. Being on the other end as a coach and consultant and a strategist myself, working with first time people who are working with a coach for the first time, they often don't even know themselves what a coach should be doing. What they often think a coach is like a mentor or a manager because they bring their employee mindset and experience to the table. And so the first couple of sessions, I'm untraining them on a manager and a mentor, and I'm retraining them on how to leverage a coach. Sometimes they're even treating me as like an instructor or like, in a college classroom where I'm just teaching, right? And then I have to retrain them and say, no, I am your coach. This is what a coach does. So, why do I tie this back to networking? Because if you want to generate leads quickly in your business, for starters, work with a coach or consultant. Okay. It doesn't have to be me, whoever you choose. I want you to think about why you're choosing them. Why you're choosing them. Okay. So here are some things that I want you to think about, and then I'll start to break down what hiring a coach versus a consultant. Okay. First of all, when you approach a coach or consultant, I don't want you to approach them as how much will they cost? What's their price point? Okay. No, 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 no. And here's why. Because if you are looking to get sales in your business, this is often one of the things I teach in my boot camp and I teach my clients and students is that we sell the way that we buy. Okay. So you got to make this mindset shift even before you even start selling or looking in your business. Because if your mindset going into hiring your winning team to help you be successful, your success team to help you be successful. And the first thing that you focus on is price point. We sell the way we buy. That means you're going to turn around, look at your services, your business, your price point, and the first thing you're going to assume that your customers are going to focus on is what? We sell the way we buy. Price point. This is why so many entrepreneurs struggle and are just charging pennies for their services because we what? Sell the way we buy. Type that into the comments. I want this to stick for you. We sell the way we buy. We sell the way that we buy. So the first thing I want you to do with your coach and consultant is not even to look at how much are they going to cost me? What is their price point? What I want you to look at is what is the value that they are going to bring to me right now that is the return on my investment. Like, what is the value that they are going to bring into me right now that is going to give me the return on my investment that is worthwhile? And this is not always going to be sales, right? Like, depending on where you're at in your business, for instance, if you're a lot of the work that you need done is mindset, that's going to be a lot harder to quantify than someone who's going to help, you're going to hire to help run social media ads, right? Like social media ads are probably going to be easier to see how that generates to sales and how that converts than hiring someone to help you with mindset. Does that make sense? Oftentimes, my students are guilty of measuring their success by sales, and I often say, no, don't just measure success by sales. Look at your growth. Look at the growth in your skills. Look at the growth in your messaging. Look at the growth in your engagement. Look at the growth. These are all the little milestones that you need to hit and grow in before you can then hit your sales. Because, friends, money is the effect. You are the cause. Type that into the comments. You are the cause. Money is the effect. You are the cause. Money is the effect. That's why your sales goals are great to have, and you should declare them, own them. Don't tell me, we'll just see how it goes. Tell me how much money you want to make and own that. Because when people say, we'll see how it goes, they're not owning it. There's still shame around it. There's still shame around money. And believe me when I say that if you cannot even declare how much money you want to earn in your business, there's no way that you can be confident in how you sell. There's just no way because there's so much shame there already around money. So that first step is declare how much money you want to make. Say it out loud. Say it to your neighbors. Say it to your partner. Say it to your kids. Say it with confidence. Write it down, but say it out loud to another person that you trust and see how that makes you feel. If you're afraid to do that, you still have some shame around money. Okay. And if you have shame around money with how much money you want to make in your business, you will have a hard time selling. Okay. So that's really the first thing I want you to think about is really what is the value that this person is going to bring to me? And not just ask for the price point. Because if you're just looking at the price point, then again, we sell the way that we buy. And if you're just looking at the price point, you may completely miss the value already of what this person has to offer you, right? Like you already are starting to corner and corner on there or tunnel vision, create this really tunnel vision of really like what's possible for you when you start looking at pricing. Because see what happens when, money again is the cause, right? So write this into the comments. You are the cause, money is the effect. So when we just start focusing on pricing right away, when we're looking to hire what's next for us, right? All of a sudden, we're just looking at the effect of money, right? And you know what I'm talking about? All of a sudden, we start looking at how much is this going to cost me? Where am I going to get this money from? How do I know this is going to work? Why is this person so expensive compared to that person? Why is this person worth that much? How am I going to finance this? Oh my gosh, I don't have a lot of cash flow right now. I can't do this. I can't hire this person. I got this and this and this. Like all of a sudden, this money effect goes into your head and you just start swirling. And before you even start, your mindset is already like, it's impossible for me. It's impossible for me. It's impossible for me. It's impossible for me. And you're just on this loop. And then you'll go on that call and you'll be like subconsciously, you'll be like, I can't afford you. It's impossible for me. It's impossible for me. Right? This is your subconscious looping in the background. And then what happens is you're going to get off that call, and odds are you're going to find reasons why you can't work with that person even before you even start. So you've got to go into it with an open heart, open mind, with what is the value that I'm hoping to get from this. Right? When I invest in hiring coaches and consultants, right? There, like I said, there are some where I could look at the indicators, like, social media ad expert, right? I can hire that person and literally see how this person is helping me convert to sales, right? But if I'm working with a mindset coach, I'm looking at value. I'm looking at how can this person shift certain parts of my mindset so that I, Elizabeth, can shift my thoughts so then I can shift my actions and show up much more consistently. So, what are some things that you can look for? I look at philosophy, right? The first one when I look at values is I look at what is their philosophy around abundance or making money or sales or marketing or shifting mindset. Like, what is their philosophy? What is it that they believe? Okay. Because I want to make sure that that person shares a common value or a common belief that I do. If I'm going to hire a coach and consultant to mold me, help me break my own limiting beliefs, help me break my own invisible fence and glass ceiling, I want to make sure that his or her approach aligns with my approach, that aligns not with how I would do it. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. But that after the molding and the chiseling and all of that, like, chiseling, like Michelangelo chiseling a stone into a statue, right? Like, I really see coaches and consultants as that. Like, they're helping you chisel your future vision for your freedom business for yourself. So, the way that they chisel that, the way that they decide to approach that in me, working with me, working alongside with me, do I feel like there's an alignment there? I don't care about the how. Everyone's an expert in their own way. I care about is there philosophy? Do we share a common philosophy around that? And if you're curious, my philosophy is relationship building, the human connection, leading with the human connection, to being driven by using your business as a way not to only create freedom, but also impact. I look at coaches and consultants who have diversity in terms of having a really open mind and an open heart. And then I look at, do they have the heart of a teacher? Do they overgive in what they do? And this is not to take advantage of anybody who's an overgiver, okay? But I'm an overgiver too. So even though I'm hiring my coaches, my team, my consultants, I'm also giving them what I know, teaching them through conversations what I know. I will overgive tips, advice, strategies. I do it all the time. Okay. Like things that, my clients and students would pay me for, right? If I'm in a conversation with someone, I am there to serve. And my mind doesn't go, oh, I can't give you this advice because you're not paying for it. I'm not that person. Okay. Now, there are people that do try to cross that line, and I do have boundaries in place. But, for the most part, when you hire the right people that are over givers too, it's actually reciprocated, meaning that they overgive and I overgive, and that energy of abundance is just goes back and forth, right? So that's what I want to encourage you on, okay? Is making sure that you're approaching hiring a coach or consultant as really like values for your return on your investment instead of price point for your return on your investment. Okay. That's the first thing because we sell the way that we buy. And if you want to start shifting the energy for you, that your customers aren't just going to be coming to you for price points all the time, the way that I teach my students and clients, yeah, you're going to be priced higher than what your average, competitors are going to be. So that's why we don't compete on price. We compete on value, high touch, high personalization, and customization. Okay? Because I'm all about quality customers, not quantity customers. I want premium customers who value my clients, who believe that they are the best at what they do and they can deliver on their services and their goods. I want them to have great quality customers that value them. I just don't want them to have money in their bank account, but they feel like a slave to that customer who's high maintenance, who wants every single thing done, and they feel like they need to bend over backwards to accommodate that person. No, 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 no. That's not what we're trying to attract here. Okay. So then what's the second thing that we want to look for, right? So if you want the freebie, type freebie into the comments. It looks like Ayana on my team already dropped the link there. You can grab that there too. But this is just a deeper level of what this assessment starts to look like. And so I want you to just to take a moment to really start to see what that is and then, like be able to reflect on this, okay? All right. So, what's the second thing that I want to talk to you about today when you're looking at hiring? So, first, we talked about hiring based on value, not price point, regardless if it's a coach or consultant. Okay. The second thing is to be very clear on the outcome of that hire. What do you want to get out of it? Most people will think about a coach or a consultant and they'll automatically go into the how to create a social media ad, how to do this, how to do this. Most people will say, well, of course, Elizabeth, I want sales. So I want to know how can I hit my sales? But there's so many different ways that you could hit your sales. There's so many different experts that you could hire from a social media ad to hit your sales. You could hire a digital marketer, a content marketer to hit your sales. You could hire someone who does SEO, search engine optimization, to hit your sales, right? You could hire a mindset sales coach to hit your sales. You could even hire a high performance coach who then can help you on more productivity and flow and time management to hit your sales, right? There's a lot of different ways we can hit our sales goals. So you got to be clear on what you want out of that. Okay. So here's a good rule of thumb of how I think about coaching versus consulting. Okay. And the reality is that many good coaches will do a little bit of both. Okay. They'll do a little bit of both where they're coaching and consulting. Now, depending on where you're at in your business and what your needs are, I want you to be clear though on, are you looking for more of a consultant or are you looking for more of a coach? Okay. This is why understanding your hire, like the expert, what their philosophy and approach is really key because everyone is different. You're different. You're unique, just like me. And so, depending on their style, they're going to be really different too. There are some, business coaches and consultants who are all about law of attraction and really more tied to spirituality that they're all about that. And there's nothing right or wrong with that. If that's your vibe and your frequency, go for it, right? And then on the opposite side, there are also business coaches and consultants and marketers who are all about sales and numbers driven. Do whatever you got to do to hustle and get the numbers, right? So they'll come in and they'll want to implement automation and technology and they'll want to pull out that spreadsheet and look at like how many calls you need to get on every week. And they're just very analytical driven. Again, nothing wrong with that. but is that how you're built? Okay. And depending on where you're at in the stage of your business, you may want to hire a coach that is going to complement a weakness of yours versus hiring a coach or a consultant that shares the same strengths as you. So there are trade offs, but I want you to just really be clear about what that is for you. So I often think of coaching as really the expert in that space who's more of as in a coach, they're more like a mirror back to you. Okay? They're listening and they're asking the right questions to help you arrive at the answers that work for you. Okay? They're often giving very little advice. They're more or less, they may introduce a framework, like an approach or a method of how they coach. But in each step, they are listening more to questions of what you and how you answer, and they're helping you arrive at the conclusion or the answer that you're looking for. Okay. That's what most coaches do is they will listen and help diagnose a problem, and then based on that they'll introduce different tools, different solutions, different methods to help you work through that so that you arrive at an answer that is really you. Okay, you with me so far? If you are, type coaching into the comments. Okay. Consultants, on the other hand, there's actually two types of consultants that I want you to think about. Okay. The first ones are really more of done for you services. Okay. They might be the ones where you might hire to just do your ads for you, to build something for you. They're the experts that will do it for you, right? And so that's pretty straightforward. So the question for you is, am I ready to invest in someone that is going to do it for me? So they're going to go in, they're going to build this thing or do this for me, and then they're going to hand it over to me. And then it's like going to plug and play into my business. Now, as you can imagine, done for you services do cost more, but they are the most effective way of making sure that, you get time back. Okay. So depending on your business, and depending on where my clients are at in their business, I will recommend say, hey, this might be a good time for you to do done for you services and just hire someone to come and build this for you. It has nothing to do, let me just repeat this. It has nothing to do with your competence. Like, can you figure out how to do it? It has nothing to do with that. Okay. Your competence is not in question. What's in question is your time. And if it's going to take you a year to build a website and we feel that we really need a website, I would rather you invest in someone building that for you. Okay. Because you make money when you're out in front, right? Visible, not behind the scenes, invisible, working on some sort of technology, coding, and things like that, unless that's your job. Right. But most people, that's not your job. Okay. So that's going to be a really great way for you to hire someone that's more of a done for you. Okay. Now, let's talk about the second type of consultant. The second type of consultant is going to be more of a how to. They are going to be doing it alongside with you. And this could look, there's so many ways to deliver this from a teacher, I'll teach you and then you go do and then come back and give feedback. This often looks like courses that you'll do, then you do the homework and then you get the feedback. There's consultants who will build along with you. So there's, live working sessions and you're doing that all together. These are all of the things that, people will be doing. And so consultants can really do that. So consultants are really focused on how to build your business, whereas coaches are more focused on really the internal work of who you are, right? Like the mindset, internal stuff that needs to just be realigned, cleaned out, shaken up a little bit, clarified so that you can then remove those blind spots, remove those barriers so that you can then move forward. Okay. So when you're thinking about what you really need, I'm just going to give you the third thing, and that is that, I want you to really think about, based on the stage of your business, what you really need. So I have found that if you are, again, a lot further along in your business, meaning that, you've already hit multiple six figures, you have a pretty, you validated your product, your offering, you have systems in place from people, process, and tools, and it's working for you. That stage of the business that's really at growth, more growth or scale, you're going to hire, odds are, more of a consultant who's going to come in and who's going to build it for you, and then likely train your team. Okay. And then the coaches I often see that are hired tend to be more like the mindset coaches at that level, because at that level, the CEO just really needs to take her mindset to that next level for her next breakthrough. So she's not really looking at the how to, she's looking at more of bringing in consultants who are very niche and specific to solve a very specific problem. There are pros and cons to that, but that tends to be a really good rule of thumb. Now, when you're earlier on in your business, you're going to want someone. Okay, this is often where I hear a lot of mistakes that a lot of startups make is they'll hire a coach thinking that this coach is going to give them the how to. And all this coach does is really the mindset work, which, don't get me wrong, is really important. But that doesn't lead to results all the time, because you need the mindset work and the action and the structure and the how to in order to see the results. Okay. This isn't just working all in the mind and then you just let it go and watch Netflix and your sales will come trickling in. Like, no, you need the law of action and action too. Okay. Not just the law of attraction or manifestation. And so then they'll say, "Oh yeah, I did all that mindset stuff, but they didn't really show me a how to," right? Or they'll make the mistake of hiring a consultant to teach them the how to, and then they realize, "Oh my gosh, there's all this blockage of all mindset stuff." So ideally, you want to hire someone that allows you both, that really has the consulting hat and the coaching hat. Okay. So one of the common questions I often get is, Elizabeth, you call yourself a business strategist. Are you more of a coach or a consultant? Right. And I actually wear both in my business. I actually am a coach consultant. And I feel like many times I'm also mentoring as well with my students and clients. I'm leading by example. I share strategies and tactics that are working in my business and share that, and things that did not work. I'm sharing that with my students inside of the Customer Yes Lab so that they learn from my mistakes so that they can go faster and hit their sales goals. But for me and inside my business, because we also have done for you. So when you join the Customer Yes Lab, you're getting strategy and tactics. And we also build your done for you course, as well as what I call your jumpstart funnel for you. Those are really the two things that at a minimum you need when you first decide to turn your expertise into an online business. You don't need a website. Okay. Not unless you're an e-commerce store. That's different. Um, but really, those are like the two minimum digital online tools that you need, right? And so, what I love working with my students on, and I often see this, is because, you know, when I do consulting for multiple six to seven figures, it's very, very specific. It's like, what are your team strengths? Do you have the right people on board? What's your business strategy? How do we get your team aligned to hit those goals? That's very different than when oftentimes when I'm working with what I would consider uh, entrepreneurs who are in their startup phase and they're just looking to get online, because the mindset work that we do is to help them shift from employee mindset to success entrepreneur mindset. So this is like having them think differently about how they value their time over money, right? And then we're also working on the how to. How do you charge more? It's not just as simple as adding a whole bunch of zeros to your price point, right? How do you charge more? How do you position more? What is your one clear conversion path online? Why do we believe that optimizing your profile is so key? What's the content that converts at a minimum, right? And I focus on building that one bridge first from start to finish. Okay. And so for me, that's really where, I'm really using more of that strategist hat. I look at each of my students and say, we take a strength assessment, and I say, what are your strengths? Are you leaning into that often as you're building your business? Just like last week, I was talking to a client or student, and I said, when was the last time that you pulled out your strength assessment and asked yourself if you were leaning into how you sold this way, right? She said, it's been a while. I said, okay, let's revisit that. Let's revisit what you naturally have a strength in, and feel like, where can you step up in that area? Because sometimes we just forget. Sometimes our old patterns and way of thinking and our old habits just override what we're trying to create for ourselves. Our new habits, or our new, processes, our new rituals that are in a work in progress still, right? It hasn't quite yet been imprinted into the new pattern yet. And so we have to intentionally kind of override that sometimes, because our old patterns will come and they'll like sabotage us, and then you'll have to catch that, because if you don't catch that, then it'll just keep sabotaging you over and over and over again. That's why I'm a big believer that you cannot start your business by yourself. It's not the how to. It's not a lack of information. It is the blind spots that will sabotage you over and over and over and over again, and you will think it's your business. You will think it's your product, your service, but it odds are not that. Okay. So as we wrap up, if you want the freebie, type freebie into the comments, and Ayana will get you the link. And I want you just to take a moment to really think about that, self-assessment of really hiring what's next for you. If you are at a point in your business where you really want more consistent sales online, I call it happy sales, because I love the type of sales where it hits your bank account and like you're doing the happy dance for your people. That's the kind of sales I'm talking about. Then I want you to really start with the organizational chart in mind. Right now, you might be sitting there as a solopreneur, and you're having to be, product and marketing and sales and IT department and finance and legal all at the same time. That's your org chart right now. And I know that it's overwhelming. And this is where many people get stuck, right? Is that you never get to that next level of hiring what you need next, so that you can have leverage and speed as an advantage for you, so that you can start to shift that org chart next for you. That's why this month, for September, we will be talking about hiring. And my next episode, I'm going to be talking to you about how to hire a VA or virtual assistant. What are some things to think about? What are some things that are pros and cons to hiring someone that's here in the US, if you're here, or Western countries, Australia, right? Versus in other countries. What are some of the pros and cons to that? How do you need to think about hiring your VA? And what are some things that you can start doing to even just into that mindset of hiring, even if you may not necessarily be ready for that? You don't want to ever feel like your next move is when you're 100% ready, because by that time, it is way too slow. Way too slow. Everything takes longer than we always think it does to build it. And by the time you're 100% ready, you're already expecting sales to be like that, like next week, next month. And odds are it's not going to be there. And then you're going to beat yourself up over it, right? We just don't, as human beings, we just don't give ourselves the breathing room, right? To learn, the learning curve that comes to it. See, we've been conditioned as adults to think that I'm smart, I'm competent, which I know you are, right? But you are comfortable. Like, you've built your business to where it is. You shifted from an employee to now an entrepreneur, right? So everything that you know to this day, you can odds are do with your eyes closed, right? Like, you are the expert at your routines, your patterns, your zone of genius. And oftentimes when we start something new, I was just telling my students this, To go from a $10,000 month to $10,000 week and a $10,000 day, each of those levels, I am learning something new and unlearning an old way of doing something. And I have to buffer in the learning curve to do both, to unlearn what got me to a $10,000 a month, to relearn or learn something new, how to create a $10,000 a week. Once I hit that, then I got to unlearn what it took to hit a $10,000 a week and relearn or learn new how to hit $10,000 days. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And so we don't give ourselves the grace and we don't factor in how you really have to be the cause first before money starts showing up in your bank account. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you that I love it when money shows up in my bank account for myself and my clients. Because for me personally, I love giving money away. Just last month, back to school, just the ability to not have to blink twice my budget to say, hey, there was someone that reached out and said, hey, we're doing a fundraiser to help kids, get back to school supplies. Like, could you be a part of that? How could I not? Right? And I didn't have to blink twice in my budget and worry about how am I going to, you know, help feed my kids because those kids that need back to school supplies, especially this year, I didn't have to think twice about that. That's why I'm so passionate and so, motivated by helping compassionately ambitious entrepreneurs hit their maximum income and impact because the more that you make, the more that you can give away. And how amazing is that? How amazing is that? So as you're watching this, like type into the comments, like what's your number one takeaway, right? What is the one thing right now that if you shifted in your business would take your business to that next level? All right. So type freebie if you want these self assessments so that you can unpack this a little bit more. I don't want you. I mean, my first rule to you was already, oh, I'm not in a position right now to hire. I don't have the money. We sell the way we buy. If that's the way that you're thinking about your business right now, then you're not planting the seed of possibility in yourself. You want to call it manifestation? That's in essence what you're doing. You're starting to put the work in to create the energy, to create the clarity, to start to manifest hiring what's next for you, right? If you're already limiting yourself and saying, oh, I can't do that. That's not where I'm at. I don't have the money. Then that's coming to the table with a scarcity mindset. And odds are, if you buy that way, you will sell that way. And that is the number one thing that I has helped to help every single one of my students and clients break is yeah, you need to go buy something, not on price point, but based on value. So you understand how that feels to value something, not based on price point, but based on value. Then we can talk about sales. Then you get it. Then you can sell, right? And so with that, join me next week, same place, same time, and I will see you then. Take care now.